Hey guys, so today I just wanted to showcase a deck that I've been working on. It's a passionate project of mine, if you like. And I've been playing this deck for so long, and I've always wanted to innovate it past its bricky roots, to be fair. So I wanted to try a different build, a control build of sorts. So here's what we have. 3 X-Shell, obviously. You can't play this deck without this card. Really broken card, really strong. Fixes your hands, dumps cards for you so you can resolve engrave. Really good all around. 2 Nastin. Not really a big fan of this card because he really makes you go nag. But the thing with it is, since we're playing a control build, you just want your cards to be in the grave, and you can easily shuffle them and cycle them back with Nastin. And you can get immediate effects. So if you're going second, you use this card, dump 2, and go ahead with your plays. Then another card I was never really sure about, to be honest. Darklord and Dusk. Darklord and Dusk is also somewhat of an egg in that you have to discard him and another Darklord card to add a Darklord card from the grave to your hand. But since we're playing a more versatile, more flexible build, if you like, this it turned out to be really helpful. And the reason I played 2 of this is because, surprisingly, I played just one Superbia. Superbia is a... It used to be a great card, but it's really mediocre at the moment because in hand it does nothing. So you just have this lying in your hand and you have to wait to dump it. So the reason I buffed up the number of Amdusks is because you can at least do something with it in your hand. Whereas if you just draw multiples of this, it does nothing. And don't play Traden because Traden is, oh my god, it's terrible Ash bait. If you get Ashed on Traden, you go neck really bad. So next we play the one Tezcatlipoca because you want names, and sometimes this can come up where you search this at the end of your turn, and you just use to protect your Link 2, so that your Link 2 can stay on the field for next turn to protect you from battle or destruction. And it has the same effect as other Darklords, just copy, it's the usual. Then we play one Morningstar. Usually, in the past, I never used to play this card unless I'm playing a very casual build of it, because as you know, it's a very situational card and it doesn't really do much against very aggressive decks. But now that we have a Link 2, finally, we can actually bring it out, not easily, but much more easily than before. Then we have an MVP that is a bit too nerfed, to be honest, Indulged Darklord. Other decks have Stratos, other decks have Oviraptor. We have Indulged that has to give an opponent a monster to add. So it is what it is, and this is what we have. So we have to work with it. It's really good though, but you have to be careful about the limitation where if you use the effect, you're locked to face for the rest of the turn. So if you want to end your turn on Appaloosa, or you want to do some play with a non-fairy extra deck monster, you can't really use it. So it's an important limitation to keep an eye about. Next, I was a bit uncertain about this one. I want to play 2, but I feel like 1 is enough, and because of a certain engine we're playing, you'll see. This is a good card. It's basically Armageddon Knight. It's really good. And you usually give it to your opponent when you activate Indulge, you give it to your opponent in defense, so they have a small body. Now for the interesting engine we play 2 Trickster Nightshade, 1 Corobane for the monsters. So this is something I was inspired about by another YouTuber who I can't for the life of me remember his name. If I do remember it, I'll have it up on the screen. This is a very good engine. He played this Nightshade. So basically Nightshade, you normal summon her. You go into the Link 1 Trickstar Bloom. And she says when used for Link, when Link summon of a Trickstar monster, she comes back. But she banishes herself when she leaves the field. So automatically, the normal summon of this card is a 1 card Darklord Condemned Darklord, the new Link 2. Which is great. I played 2, and you have the Corobane in case you need a big body. Plus, you can just summon it, and automatically these 2 have enough materials for the Condemned. Then you have an extra material to do something else. Now for spells. Obviously, we play the 3 Banishment. 3 Banishment is a really good card. Unfortunately, it's once per turn, but doesn't matter because you copy it and get the effect. Search anything in your deck. Really good. Then we play obviously 3 Contact, the monster reborn in the archetype. Also very versatile card because it doesn't target. So if they have the Crow, they can't really pick what you're gonna choose. This is the nice thing about Darklord cards, all of them don't target. Then a card I have a love-hate relationship with, Allure of Darkness. It used to be a 3, then to 1, then I brought it back to 2, because you don't really want to banish cards in this deck, because once you banish your Darklords, you can't really get them back. You know, so this is a consistency card that is a necessary evil, if you like. Then this is something my brother told me about, Foolish Barrier Goods. Well, it wasn't necessarily new in the build. I've seen people play it, but given that we're playing with a more, not really aggro, more aggressive control build, you know, where you just, in the past you'd be like, trade in, X-Shell, Allure, just dumping and summoning, not doing much, you know. Now you have ways to choose what you want to dump, choose what you want to search, choose what you want to destroy. Do you wanna dump the Darklord Rebellion? Do you wanna pop in the, what's it called? The one that the Change of Heart trap, the negation. There are many ways you can do. You can be much more flexible now by using a card like this. Then obviously Monster Reborn, can't go wrong with Monster Reborn. 1/1 for the Trickster level 1. This, if you draw this and resolve it, can often lead you to end on an Appaloosa plus some other cards, you know, plus a Darklord on field and some traps, so you can pop something with a trap, copy it, pop again, and you have an Appaloosa with 3 materials or 4, depending on what you have. Usually it's 3. It's very, very rarely to have 4. So yeah, this card's really good, obviously. Whenever you see this card, you're going places. Called by the Grave, because you hate the Crow, you hate hand traps. Harpies. Harpies is good. It's a good one-off in the deck. For the side, you can choose to play Cosmics, Twisters, whatever you want. I prefer Cosmics because even though you want this card in this deck, you don't really want this card. It's not a great trade-off, to be honest. You want to control what you dump, and you want to control dumping it to get beneficial effects, not just popping, you know. Popping traps, okay, but that doesn't really get you much. Doesn't get you anywhere. Upstart is Upstart. Trickster Light Stage. This is a very interesting card because not only does it search you the one card engine for the Link 2 Darklord basically, but also acts as a back row removal going second. So you activate it, freeze the back row, unless they respond, they have till the end phase to use it or to send it to grave. Then traps, we play 2 of the Darklord Rebellion. You destroy it. It's the most. The reason I play 2 of this is because it's the most versatile. You know, destroying is always the best thing to do. But this card is also clutch. This card is a Change of Heart or Mind Control, whichever you want to call it. Non-targeting as well. This one is also not targeting. You can activate it, target, steal a monster, and just go about disrupting their plays. Against Salamangreat, for example. I know no one plays Salamangreat right now in the meta, but in a wrong environment, for example, it's fine. Sanctified is an effect veiler that lets you gain life. It's good. It doesn't really come up as often as I thought it would. This is the most universal one, but it's fine. Then you play the MVP trap, Back to the Front. So, Back to the Front is obviously a monster reborn on your opponent's turn that they don't often see coming and not a lot of people play. So you can summon back whichever Darklord you want, copy another effect, or search, or do whatever. Good disruption. Extra deck. So extra deck is very flexible. Obviously, when you're playing a Darklord deck, you can be very flexible with their extra deck. So we play 2 Bloom because, well, glare. I used to play 1, but sometimes you need 2. It's just the engine is so good, you sometimes actually go to 2 copies of it. Then you play the MVP, Content Darklord, the Link 2 that we recently got last year. It does a lot. It lets you discard to search, which is annoying, to be fair. You know, when you have other extra deck monsters that just on summon search or activate search, you have to discard, which can be good, but also hurts your card economy unless you can start copying effects from the grave. And the second effect, which lets you summon Morningstar much more easily, lets you, instead of tributing on the field, you tribute a fairy by banishing fairies, if I'm not mistaken, by banishing cards from the grave instead. You know, so you have this on field, you haven't known summoned yet. It's a passive effect. It's like Vampire Sucker in a sense. You go banish from the grave, summon Darklord Morningstar, and then you have the effect. And honestly, I love Darklord Morningstar, but it gets you there sometimes. It gets you there. But yeah, this card MVP. Then these are optional, to be honest. You can play IP, play it with the unicorn. Then you play. This is something I came up with. Akashic Magician, obviously. 2 monsters of the same type. And sometimes, honestly, it came in clutch often. So you place it here in front of a monster, you bounce it. Geonator Transverser. This is a very interesting card that recently came out a few formats, a couple of formats ago, I guess, 2 formats. It's a very interesting card. It came up in theory, in testing not so much, but if for some reason you give your opponent, for example, a Darklord, you put it on the top, you swap cards basically, you swap monsters. Nightmare Unicorn, Phoenix, Unicorn, generic, So then, these are really also again up to choice. You play the $120 card, PLS Link, really good. You can easily make level 7s, you can easily drop level 7s or above or higher monsters on the field to make this guy, and he can be a problem for some decks to deal with. Then the Appaloosa, which surprisingly more than often you can actually go into her, which was very clutch. So usually it's just a placeholder, I've never really used it, but if you're really, really desperate and you're confident your opponent can't stop you, and you can use it to summon a monster, use 3 materials to summon a monster from your hand, or use it 4 to summon to fix your hand, it's not going to come up to you, and this is the card I'm probably going to cut. Then my favorite card in the X deck, the janky Ravenous Tarantula. This is a really janky card, but it's really cool. Basically, you overlay 2 X shells, and all your monsters gain attack equal to the difference between your life points and your opponent's life points. And he has an effect as well that he pops you can activate the effect Raigeki their board basically for every monster that's below his attack. And he has some other passive effects. When your opponent special summons, you burn. So you just use it to close games for the most part. Other than Tarantula, you also play the Dreadnought Rail Cannon, Gustav Max. This is also sometimes comes in clutch when your opponent is on no life points and you can't close the game. Just make this with X shells and burn it for 2k. Not a bad decision. So beefed up Gaga Cowboy. And unlike in the past where rank 8s were the go-to thing to do with this deck, now that you have, if you're playing this control build, you actually go into X shell much more. And so in your turn you have an X shell. If she survives, next time you summon another X shell, you'll often have rank 10s. So this is not a bad choice. And last spot is the flex spot as well. Starving Venom if you're playing Super Poly. I was, but you don't have to. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to put it out there, I just wanted to try to innovate a deck that I'm really passionate about, and Darklords is a really cool deck. Yes, don't expect to win any YCSs with this deck. It can sometimes struggle at local level, even at the locals level. But it's a fun deck, and if you enjoy it, well, honestly, that's why I play the game. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks, guys.